Everywhere you look, things are feeling more polarized than ever. Algorithms are rewarding the hottest take. Extreme debate content is normalizing extremist views, and comment sections are downright vicious. But this climate of polarization is no longer just left versus right, it's bleeding into the queer community. Today we're going to discuss the queer community's divide, its history with infighting, and how we can move forward.
And to help us do that, today we have TAHA, who is a content creator and would have been OnlyFans creator if he had the self-esteem for it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Queer Collective podcast. I'm your host, Carbon.
I'm Emily.
And I'm TAHA.
And welcome to the show. And this episode is sponsored by Surfshark and Vizzy Hard Seltzer, but more on that later.
I'm wondering, TAHA, as someone who is both chronically online and dialed into politics, what do you think is causing and fueling the divide in the queer community right now?
Good question. I think there's lots of factors.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things, if we're talking about online content, is something that's, I think, affecting everyone, or like one piece of it. Have you heard of the term "what about meism"?
Oh,
like
no, but it sounds familiar.
Do you know when I say the bean soup?
Explain
What's
it.
the bean soup?
So if I'm not mistaken, it was this video this person made about bean soup, and a bunch of the comments were like, well, what if I don't like beans?
Okay,
like,
then
this
you don't
isn't
eat
for
it,
you.
I guess?
Then the recipe is not for you.
Yeah.
And so people have used that to talk about this kind of phenomenon of like, everything I consume should be about me.
It's so true.
And so people get upset when it's not, and they want everything to be palatable to them. And I think that's one of the many factors I think we see in not just queer communities, but everyone online, but particularly the queer community, because I think there's an intersection of feeling excluded via the topic of a video and then feeling excluded kind of by being marginalized. And I think some people feel like when they're not included, it is kind of this act of political violence against them. I think our relationships with feelings of injustice bring out strong reactions. So I wonder if that's a piece of it, I think.
When we're talking about this kind of stuff, we're particularly talking about the Western society because it's the one that we live in.
Yeah, true,
Right?
yeah.
It might be different elsewhere, I hope,
Very good
actually.
point. Yeah.
But it is very much like an individualistic society generally. Like we are generally told to be very individualistic, and then in turn, maybe that's part of what's causing like the everything should be about me type of bean soup.
There's also like so many things just become leftist purity tests. Like if you're not morally perfect,
You're not in the club.
Yeah.
you're not in the club, or like
And it feels like such a high standard to meet sometimes. It's like, and there isn't any understanding that it's like, maybe you can just explain something to this person in a kind way and then be like, oh, cool, I totally get it. But instead it's like, like so much anger.
Well, yeah, and I think it's one of the reasons that we suck at organizing. Like the right is so much better
They're
at organizing
so
than
organized.
us. We
They're
can't do
really
shit.
good.
We literally start fighting.
So bad.
We literally start fighting in 5 minutes. Well, and I think that's why it was so exciting to see Zoran Mamdani, for example, his
100%.
campaign win, because I'm like, oh my God, leftists can organize.
I think what he did really successfully was organizing people and bringing people together over a class divide. You know what I'm saying? Because that is something that can bring all people together. And he was reaching out to Trump supporters and asking them why they supported Trump. And a lot of their reasons was for class reasons. You know what I mean? They wanted a cheaper cost of living. Turns out Trump is obviously not going to give that to you, but not everyone understands that.
Not everyone understands that. It was nice because I was like, okay, we can do something. We can
Yeah.
find common ground and kind of, give someone space, or like give ourselves room to kind of collaborate with people of that nature. Now, this is a very broad statement I'm making. There are many situations in which I wouldn't apply this. I'm not going to be like, go and work with like really morally deplorable people. My point is that I think sometimes we get so caught up in like the hierarchy of moral purity within our communities that we spend so much time focusing on fighting within it that we forget that the reason we're banding together and trying to create community is so that we can kind of help push for our social causes as a team.
Yes.
Right.
And show people who maybe think it's silly or ridiculous or overly woke that actually, no, you would be happy with this too. You're just like you've been tricked into thinking you wouldn't.
100%. And I think we're spending so much time fighting with someone who very almost closely agrees with you on everything anyway.
Yeah.
And if you just had like a rational, calm conversation with this person, they might agree with you on what you're talking about right now. But instead you're like coming at them with so much anger that I just don't think that's going to result in anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think having that anger is totally fair.
Valid.
Like have the anger totally. Like I can totally get why you're frustrated. I think where we have to think a little harder is how am I going to channel this anger into a productive outcome so that we can be a strong group?
Which is not what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Not a lot of us.
Not a lot of us do it.
Probably including
It's like,
myself.
I'm just going to be angry and I'm going to like be angry online and you have to change, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to what you said about individualism. It's the very like, well, I shouldn't have to put in the labor to explain this to you. I don't owe anyone anything. And it's I, me, I.
The internet's obviously a super polarizing place. There's a lot of real danger that can come with it, like people getting doxxed. There's data breaches. There's hackers online. And I think it's very important that we all protect ourselves with a VPN like Surfshark. Do you know what Surfshark is?
Of course I do. They're the sponsor of today's video. Surfshark is an award-winning virtual private network which keeps your online identity safe by encrypting any information sent between your device and the internet.
So if you're anything like us and you're working remotely from places with free Wi-Fi, like say a public library or a cafe, a VPN is an absolute must-have to keep your personal data protected from big companies or cyber criminals.
It is scary easy to hack a public Wi-Fi network, and a concerning amount of your data can be stolen if you're not using a VPN like Surfshark that masks your IP address to make you private online.
Now, 2 years ago, I had my social media accounts hacked, and that was devastating enough because I didn't recover majority of them, and the photos that were on there are now gone forever. But having something so sensitive like our bank accounts hacked, now that is one of our biggest fears. And with the rise of digital scams and banking hacks, I know that we aren't alone in this. Unfortunately, at this point, we all know somebody who has been a victim of it. So think of a purchase like Surfshark VPN as your insurance and protection.
And the cherry on top, with Surfshark, you avoid location-based pricing, so you're able to book airlines, hotels, and even car rentals at the cheapest rate. And in this economy, that alone is reason enough to use a VPN.
Right now, you can get an exclusive Surfshark deal if you go to surfshark.com/queercollective or enter our code queercollective at checkout to get an extra 4 months of Surfshark VPN for free.
That's right. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring this episode. I think beyond the small fractures and divides that are happening amongst leftists, there is a really big growing divide that's happening amongst conservative gays and like quote unquote social justice warriors and like tender queers. Have you heard these terms?
Yes.
Yeah. According to Urban Dictionary, it's a personality designation used typically by lesbians, bisexuals, pansexuals, soft boys, and non-binary folks to indicate a preference towards enforcing radical vulnerability. Includes but is not limited to self-victimization, ineffective methods of care, gaslighting, competitive oppression, and dumping the emotional labor of dealing with your own self on others.
Hell yeah.
I want to be free of any responsibilities. My conscience is clean.
Yeah.
So our poll got like a variation of replies. 52% of people said they don't identify with the label but feel generally neutral towards it. 28% said they don't identify and feel negatively towards it, and 20% identify and feel positively. We also asked people to define the term for us, and it kind of turned out a little bit similarly. So on the positive side, it came out to be someone who is emotionally sensitive, who has a softness to them. There is a serenity to it. They are primarily soft and loving to others and themselves. Queerness that is rooted in how we tend to each other from a place of community building.
Okay.
Sounds nice.
That sounds nice.
It sounds nice.
That's so nice.
And the majority of replies, however, said it is a derogatory term for people who use therapy speak to shield and absolve themselves of responsibility, people who you have to take extra care of not to offend, people who center themselves and weaponize intersectionality, white Western queers who use their orientation to resist growth, accountability, and awareness, and prioritize their comfort at the expense of the world.
Absolutely.
What a lot of these folks, like the conservative kind of side of things, I did a lot of listening to their podcasts, unfortunately,
Don't say unfortunate. It's a good thing to do.
I listened to their podcast to hear what they had to say for the research of this.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are saying that the leftist queers are taking our requests too far, like demanding that everyone introduce themselves with pronouns.
Include trans people.
I don't know if that's like the general thing, but it's just like demanding that we have like a reframe of the system and everyone else change rather than just like accept us and allow us to be who we are on the side.
Some things need to be demanded.
Yes.
Like, for example, basic human rights.
Yeah.
Access to clean water, education, healthcare, like all of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, is it going too far?
Saying that we are asking
Yeah.
for too much is sometimes not understanding the person's perspective.
I think
know?
it depends on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There are so many
Yeah.
like we would have to go situation by situation. I think for pronouns, for example, like I mean, I think if someone doesn't fully understand it but they're trying, I think that's great.
Right.
But I
Absolutely.
think that you're allowed to be upset if someone's like, no, it's stupid and I don't believe in it. Because it's like, it's okay to be like, hey, this is who I am. It feels kind of shitty like when you don't acknowledge
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I can get why people are upset. But then
sure.
when we get into like the weaponization element of it, when it's like,
Totally.
you know, I am a victim of oppression, which yes, you are. But then using that to not take accountability for like, I don't know, responsibilities or like being a nice person, things like that. I think that's when we can get into
Right.
maybe like a different territory. I'm also curious, and it's we don't have to go to get into it. Something that I tried to, and like I will respect and do my best. I kind of become a boomer when it comes to this, but I would try is neo pronouns. I don't really know what those
Like
are.
the Zers. Those
Sure,
kinds of
I saw
situations.
one that was like Luna, Loon or something, and I was like, listen,
Right.
if that's what you want me to say, I'll do my best to say it. I might fuck up like an
Yeah.
old boomer accidentally like
Yeah.
getting words wrong, but I don't fully understand it.
So
Yeah.
funny. You're so young, but you do have like kind of boomer energy.
I do have boomer
Yeah.
energy. I know. No, it's true. It's true. I'm so young. What? I'm 30. That's like really old.
That's
now.
like
Flirty and
really
thriving.
young. We're like your skin looks.
Stop
You're glowing.
this. Yeah, when I use the neopronoun example because I'm like, that's a situation where I'm a boomer.
Where
I'm like,
you
I
start to
don't
get a little
it
bit
at
like-
all.
Right, yeah.
But then I'm like, I don't get it at all. But like, I
still
want to
respect
respect
you.
you. I want to like try to get it. I want to like make you feel happy.
Yeah.
Like those parents that don't get how their kid's gay, but they're like, but I want to try to. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it would be nice if people just tried to be nice to each other and respect each other. I think
Yeah.
a lot of it comes down to that.
So I think what we're seeing in the face of a moral panic around trans and non-binary people is there are portions of the community who are choosing to protect their own rights by distancing themselves as lesbians and gays from trans people. LGB without the T alliances have popped up across the UK, Canada, and the US, separating and excluding themselves from trans people, arguing that sex-based rights of lesbians and gay men are threatened by the inclusion of trans people. This is a relatively new movement being founded in 2019, so it's hard to quantify exactly how many people are involved and actually like support this initiative. However, one thing I do really want to flag is like they are very like the right wing, they're very politically motivated. A lot of their initiatives
active.
are around political campaigns, lobbying.
Yeah.
They organize again with the good organization skills,
they
man.
organize, y'all, and sometimes they
Yo.
get the shit done.
Yeah, honestly, we can definitely learn from that. I'm not gonna lie, like we gotta organize.
These types of organizations are in support of banning puberty blockers and hormone therapy for youth because they think it's part of a campaign to turn gay kids trans so that they're heterosexual. It's a mental gymnastic
That's
situation.
a lot of mental
Yeah, that's a
gymnastics.
lot.
Yeah.
Of that's a lot of flipping in my head.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because like majority of trans people specifically that I know go gay the other way after they transition.
Yeah, you're like double down.
Yeah,
You're like, I just took
was
testosterone and
gay,
now I like
and now
men.
I'm also other gay.
And they also don't want LGBT rights to have anything to do with children in general because of the history of gay people being painted as predators and part of the gay rights campaign back in the day really being about how LGBT people are not going to impact you or your family. We're doing our own thing over here.
I mean, I think they're just trying to preserve their rights by pretending that they're completely different from the trans community, and they think their pandering will grant them rights once the right is done shitting on trans people. Do they think they're going to get acceptance from LGBT people for the LGBT community, whatever they're calling themselves? I don't think so. I even recently saw this like Republican lady online who like years ago was like, yeah, I'm a Republican, but like same-sex marriage is marriage and we should allow it. And then very recently did like tweeted about how no, same-sex marriage ruins the sanctity of marriage, and it's like they will all like you can distance
Your morals
yourself
are
as
so
much as you
flimsy.
want.
Yeah.
The morals are flimsy. You can distance
Yeah.
yourself from your community as much as you want. These people will come for you. I wonder if these organizations exist because they're consisting of people who are like, no, I'm not like these activist kinds. I just want to do my own thing, and that's why
Yeah.
I'm not like them. And it's like, hey.
Well, it's a
stupid,
survival tactic.
But
I think.
how do you think you have the right to do your own thing alone? It's because of these activist people. You weren't allowed to do your own thing alone before.
Yeah, like you do get places by being exclusionary, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It would be, of course, better to not step on other people for you to get further.
Yeah.
And I do think it's a survival tactic. Like people are afraid that their rights will get taken away. So they want to divert attention and be like, no, go after these people because they're worse than me. Leave me alone. But the problem is that once someone is done with dealing with those people that you diverted attention to, then you're next. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. But it is like very much kicking the can down the road, seeing how far you can push it.
For most social justice movements, I think there is a constant need to be pushing our rights forward. Otherwise, they get stagnant and go backwards. And I think getting into this like protectionist state around sex-based rights, you can do that, but you don't have to do that at the expense of trans people. You know what I mean? You can say like back off of gay and lesbian rights, but also we don't need to pull anyone down in the making.
A lot of our campaigning historically has been as a community with trans people leading it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like to abandon this integral part of our community.
And like who got you here? A big part of who got you here.
Yes. I mean, yeah, you technically could do that, but I think it makes you shitty.
You could, I guess.
You
but
could.
Is it morally bankrupt? Yeah.
Yes. If you just like make a lot of these people meet a trans person, they're gonna be like, oh my God, what was I freaking out about?
Oh, you're a human too.
All of my trans friends are really normal and calm and chill. I'm the insane one.
I agree.
I'm the one that needs to be locked up, and like gay men are more of a threat to anything than trans people.
Yeah, what do you think gay men are doing?
Well, I think that if we should exclude anyone from the queer community, instead of trans people, it should be cis gay men. We're really annoying, and like we talk too much on Twitter. Because like we should evaluate who's actually being a threat to society. It's not trans people, they're just vibing. Us, however, who's the first to turn their backs on everyone?
The most catty.
Cis gay men, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's not even just the white ones, it's 2025. Even the light skinned ethnics are doing it now. Yeah, it's true.
Do you think it's divisive to say that?
I hope
We've
it is.
been, people have been so angry at us. They're like, you're causing more infighting for saying that. Do you think that it is? Are we the
am
problem?
a shit disturber. I don't care. Yeah. I think that cis gay men should be. I'm saying that if we should pick one group of the queer community to poke, leave the trans people alone, poke the cis gay men.
Yeah.
Let us get married and stuff, obviously, but just like call us out for being like racist, misogynistic.
No, you still deserve all your rights, but
Yeah.
like you can be called annoying.
I'm just saying who's the most annoying is it's us. And the people that are going to comment saying, how dare you, blah, 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 I'm a gay man, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, I feel a bit better about myself, thanks.
Yeah. Jokes aside, it is fascinating that, again, they're picking on the trans community.
Getting associated with people that are so looked down upon is what gets your rights revoked.
Sure. And
so then they're like, hey, that's not me. And
Yeah.
like, no, obviously it's not you.
I think the same way that you can get privilege by proxy and you can get someone's oppression by proxy. And I think as people with the most privilege, it is our responsibility to share the privilege.
I think another
We gotta
key
share
point,
that
though,
privilege.
is that like privilege aside, because when we talk about trans communities and trans folks, we're talking about gender identity versus sexual preference.
Yeah, and they feel it's different.
They feel it's different. And like on a technical note, it is different. And I think it's a lot of the same thing that we see with right-wing people where they just don't understand that gender identities have not been binary throughout history. This is not
They think we're
leftist,
making things up
crazy
and-
thing I'm
Like
saying.
the world started at the Bible.
Yeah, and it's recorded throughout history in all the cultures, all of these third genders, like non-binary genders, all of these things have always been there. Refusing that because of what we've been fed growing up is another reason why I think these LGB communities exist, right? They're like, no, this thing isn't real. And I think it's just illiteracy as well. And the way that we allow particularly Abrahamic religions, but like, I don't know, a lot of religious scriptures dominate our communities.
Anytime you ask someone to change a way that they've been doing something their whole life, you're most often going to get an adverse reaction out of people. And I think we do in some ways need to think about our campaign and how we are proposing it to people. You know what I'm saying? We're a small subset of the population. And I think the optics do matter sometimes. And I think the way that we present our information, while all of us, majority of us can agree that it is a good thing to ask someone about their pronouns. It's a good thing to respect people's identity.
Absolutely.
Everyone else sometimes are going to be like, why are you overcomplicating things? And you have to pretty much give people a sales pitch. Like we are a small portion of the population. And like, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, we live in a democracy. And like, that is a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
We can't just call the shots.
It's just care and respect for for your community. But another thing is when people...
But you have to sell that in certain ways. For people who have been living in a certain way their whole life and they've been taught a certain thing, is you need to learn how to pitch that. And I think that, unfortunately, that is what conservative gays are actually good at. They're good at like these marketing campaigns.
They got marketers over there. They're good.
Well, when people complain online about like the way people's activism is going and how it works, the one thing I always think to myself is, have you ever convinced somebody to change their mind about something? If not, I don't want to hear it. No, well, the thing is, I just don't think a lot of people have the ability to convince people to change their mind about things. And if you haven't done that before, I'm not going to take your opinion or insight about how we should engage with communities that don't understand us, because you don't know how to talk to people in real life because you haven't touched grass in a week.
And you have to make another person feel heard as well. You can't just yell your own opinion at someone. That's just not how communication works.
Sure.
Like now they're just going to start yelling back at you and they're not listening at all.
No, I get the frustration people have, but I think we have to work through that frustration and approach people more empathetically if we want them to understand what we're talking about. It's a difference between going up to someone and being like, even with people I know and like my relatives and stuff, I'm not going to be like, you don't like gay people, you think being gay is wrong? You effing piece of shit, da da da. That's probably what I would have done when I was in my early 20s. But now I think my approach should be, hey, it sounds like you're really, really upset about this thing about my life, and like I wanted to talk to you about it because I've seen you be a really empathetic person. What's up? Like, what's this about?
And not painting this person as like that's everything you are now.
No,
you know, it's like you
not.
can still. That's how people get very polarized. Is when you other someone and completely kick them out just because they said one thing wrong. And I think even going back to the tender queer sort of conversation of it all is when we were in Alberta at that Pride in Banff. Carla Marks, a drag queen, obviously by the name, is quite a political gal.
Good name.
And
love the name.
over there, obviously, most right-wing province in Canada, and their Pride was much more political than it is in Toronto.
Wow.
And what she had to say was like, for queer people, you need to ask yourself, are you unsafe or are you just uncomfortable? And to push through that discomfort because our presence is political. When we prioritize our safety so much and we prioritize our comfort and like our tenderness and our softness, is like sometimes we take our foot off the political gas pedal a little bit.
She's advocating for us to own our political existence so we can all fight for our rights better.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, I kind of like that. I think I need to hear that. I'm someone who feels unsafe when I don't need to feel unsafe. And it's something I'm very aware of.
Me too. It's very in my head a lot of
I've
time.
had a lot. Yeah, exactly. And I've literally
I'm
told
very
people,
cautious.
Yeah.
Like anywhere I go.
And it's like I get scared of being perceived as gay if I feel like it's sketchy or something. And realistically, what is someone going to do? Also, I'm a man. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm jacked.
What's funny is that I thought that me going more like androgynous, like shorter hair kind of thing, looking a little bit more masked, I thought that would be like, I am at more risk, more danger because I am visibly more queer. I've never been so hit on by men in my life.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought was going to happen.
That's cool too, though, because I'm like, in every situation we've given, we have kind of agreed that it would probably be better for us to be a little stronger and braver, particularly myself, because I feel scared so much. And I'm like, if I am allowing myself to be perceived as openly gay out on the street in public, and then when someone gives me a look or something, but then they see me engaging with the world really kindly and lovingly, I can actually change their perception of things.
That's good. That's good. I like that line.
There you go.
So is the queer community actually more divided than ever?
Yeah.
You think so?
You think? Or has it? I feel like it's always been this way.
We will discuss at the end of this, but I have some thoughts. But I like that you answered though at the beginning, and let's see if we change your mind.
Yeah, let's see if we change your mind.
Okay. Infighting has been part of the queer community's history since we first started organizing. With such diverse coalitions of human beings coming together, that's typically what's going to happen. Throughout history, the queer community has always had conflict and factions, especially over respectability and assimilation versus radicalization and liberation. Did we catch that?
Yeah.
The difference there?
I caught it. Yeah. Blend in versus stick out.
Exactly. At the heart of the divide in the queer community is a disagreement over whether we want to be accepted as part of society or whether we want to transform society itself, which feels very similar to what's reemerging today with the LGB without the T, right? What do you all think about the goal of trying to fit into society?
I think people can do whatever they want because we all have free will, and that's the beauty of free will. If you want to fit in, if you want to assimilate, if you want to go with the grain, then you can do that. You're free to do so. Inversely, if you want to be totally sticking out and go against the grain, then you're free to do so. I don't think, though, that you should shit on people in whichever way they choose to go.
What do you think about it as like a political goal, though, like as the goal for the movement? You know what I mean? Because when it's a goal for a movement, that is people saying this should be all of our objective.
I think for myself, whenever I think of like activism, for me, the root of it is always show people love, let them do what they want, make sure no one's getting hurt. So I would say let everyone do what they want as long as they're not hurting anyone. But then I think the reason a lot of people say we want to cause political structural changes is because they are being hurt and people don't acknowledge that or see that.
I think that's my view of it as well. I feel the problem with that is it's not a goal that everyone can achieve, especially gender nonconforming people. A lot of the time when you cannot pass as heterosexual, when you cannot pass as like cisgender, you're just like, you can't fit in, you know? And that's just you being who you are. When being queer was criminalized in Western society, the public face of our community was the most visible members, right? So I'm talking about trans folks, cross-dressers, and those who just cannot conform into the gender binary. They could not hide under the guise of heterosexuality and thus were obvious and easy targets. So it's no coincidence that the gay rights movement in North America only really materialized at the same time that the government and police started targeting queer folks who historically had passing privilege. So before the 1950s, a straight acting white middle-class man could reasonably expect that if he was careful enough in hiding what he was doing, that the establishment would turn a blind eye to your sexual transgressions.
Deviant.
Yeah, to your deviance. You had enough privilege to continue to pass. But in the 1950s, the Lavender Scare and LGBT purge happened. Do you know about these things,
No,
Taha?
I don't. I've heard of the Lavender Scare.
Let me give you a little history lesson.
Yes, please.
This is when the US and Canadian government fired thousands of queer people from federal jobs because they were seen as security risks. During the Cold War, Western governments became obsessed with rooting out communism. Is this sounding familiar? Like Red Scare kind of era?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. They were obsessed with rooting out communists, and queerness got lumped in with that fear because it was seen as immoral and untrustworthy. There's also a lot of stuff about like Germans being seen as like very queer, and it was like the German affliction, but whatever. We'll move past that. Suddenly, it was precisely those men who previously passed that were deemed as the biggest security threats because they were the only ones who could rise to a position of power where their blackmail by enemy forces would be worthwhile. So with their lives destroyed, essentially, these white gays and lesbians were politically motivated, but their strategies were fundamentally exclusionary of trans people. They created the early homophile organizations, and their goal was to prove that homosexuals were respectable, employable, and patriotic Americans and Canadians.
That is kind of funny, though, isn't it? That their assimilation into culture is actually what got them fired and banned, because it's like, well, you can be a double agent. Being a double agent in life means that you can be a double agent anywhere, so we can't trust you.
I mean, I think it points back to the thing that both of you were saying, that eventually they're going to come for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, eventually you're going to be the target. If you let everyone else be a target before you, it's like, you got to keep pushing things forward. So they were not criminals and perverts. They wore suits, held formal meetings, and published newsletters. They were strategic. Assimilation was the only imaginable path forward.
Right. Again, survival. It's like we've known this to be a survival tactic, and it's worked before. So it's like, why wouldn't you do it again?
Where did it work before?
Right here in your little page.
Oh, you mean
in this little page of yours where you say
today.
like during the Cold War.
You mean people today are seeing this as
You look at history and you're like, assimilation worked.
Yeah. In 1969, the Stonewall riot that we today credit as the origin of Pride was led by the most marginalized among us. Instead of, quote, we're just like you, the rallying cry became, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. But after a year, the community was split into factions led by, one, the Gay Liberation Front, the GLF, and the Gay Activist Alliance, the GAA. So the GLF in particular rejected respectability politics, seeing queer liberation as part of a larger fight against capitalism, racism, and patriarchy. And the GAA wanted to focus on single-issue gay rights, not revolution. They pursued incremental legal reform, marketing campaigns, and anti-discrimination laws, which sounds a lot like what the LGBT Alliance is up to.
The thing is, I think we need both. I think we need the people that are leading revolutions, and I think we need the people that want to make just like marginal steps forward.
Yeah.
Because marginal steps will not happen unless the revolution people are there. Obviously, we are all aware where we stand about Palestine. It's like when people are like, well, why didn't they just like do a peaceful protest?
Yeah. Like,
That's the equivalent of a peaceful protest.
yeah.
Another piece on the Palestine thing, right? Because I feel like it's in a way very relevant to the argument that we're making today, which is like to stomp and put down other people for your betterment or your marginal betterment. The arguments that we heard online about like, you know, but if you went there, you would be thrown off a bridge. So what do you care about, you know, their rights? And I'm like, well, that's not the point. The point is that everybody deserves the right to live, the right to have healthcare, the right to have water. And then once you get all of the rights in check, then we can talk
argue.
about morals and values and
Yes.
stuff like that. But we
Literally.
can't even get there if you don't have the opportunity to have like a life.
Everyone deserves to be alive and be safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
Period.
yeah, and I think the transferability here is that if we just have people that are working marginally and like satisfying the upper people, no one will listen. And it's like, well, what do? Do they just say, oh man, I guess this is all I can accept. I'll hide. I won't hold the hand of the person I love in public because I feel scared, and I'll just let that be my life, you know?
Well, you continue to make sacrifices, but
Everyone just deserves human rights. Everything we're saying all boils down to let people be. If they're not hurting anyone, be respectful to them and stop being mean to people for no reason.
emphasis on the if you're not hurting anyone.
If you're
And
not
I
hurting anyone,
also
yeah.
think tying it into the tender queer thing is like, are you actually being hurt by this? And is it a hurt that's worth like really causing a fight over?
Are you hurt,
like
or are
maybe
you
let's-
just uncomfortable?
Can we get a priority list going on here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So a moment in history that added a lot of fuel to the divide and relates very closely to today's attack on trans people is the 1977 Anita Bryant Save the Children campaign.
I need a Max win.
Yeah.
You know that? You know Drake? There was like this like viral video of Drake where he's like gambling. He's like, I need a Max win.
Roche brought me the hat that I need for the stream right here. This is my alter ego. Anita Maxwin. Anita Maxwin.
Okay. So neither of you know about Anita Bryant.
No. I just know about Anita Max win.
Great. Before she became the face of gay hatred, Anita Bryant was America's golden girl. She was a former Miss Oklahoma and Miss America runner-up. She was a devout Christian with a wholesome image. Okay, we're getting a picture.
Relate.
Basically.
Relatable.
Yeah. So relatable.
Me when I go Christian and run for Miss America.
Hell yeah.
She scored a few hit songs, performed for presidents, and became the official spokesperson for the Florida Citrus Commission.
She could sing too. And was Miss America?
She was
Oh my
doing it all up.
Commission.
So she was the face of orange juice, basically. And her slogan, a day without orange juice is like a day without sunshine.
Aw.
That's cute.
Yeah, this slogan made her a household name. Her smile was on billboards and orange juice cartons across the country.
Damn.
It was a big deal,
That's crazy.
right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Especially back in the day, cartons were everything.
Especially because she was like probably the only influencer back then.
Yeah.
So it's like she didn't have like competition. Do you want to hear my Mickey Mouse voice?
Yeah.
Can I answer the next question in my Mickey Mouse voice?
Please. Okay. She launched a campaign called Save Our Children. Her argument was that gay people were trying to recruit children and destroy the American family. She famously...
Recruit children? Like
Yeah.
build our army.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She famously said
Isn't that what
homosexual...
Christians do?
Yeah.
Build God's army? That's
Yeah.
what Christians do. I don't know.
She famously said homosexuals cannot reproduce, so they must recruit.
Imagine me coming into your house and like taking your kid because I'm going to recruit them.
Do you think that she thought she was gay because she interacted with a gay person and then started realizing she had feelings for other women?
You think she's a lesbian, low-key?
Maybe. Why else would she think that she could be recruited?
Oh, like it's working. Yeah.
I will say the next thing in my Patrick voice.
Oh, perfect.
It sounds like she really didn't like gay people because she could relate to them a little too hard.
Do you practice these at home?
Yes.
Oh, that was bad.
Yes, I do.
That one line about recruitment spread like wildfire and essentially started the moral panic around homosexuality. And I think this is feeling very similar to what we're hearing about trans people now, right? Like
with the kids, yeah.
They're
Save
not.
the kids.
They're not necessarily saying this about gay people anymore, but it's the new target is trans people
For sure.
You know what I'm
There
saying?
was literally this online game I played recently that this company reached out to me about. They're based in the UK. They sent me this quiz and you had to guess if the headline was 80s homophobia or 2025 transphobia. And I got like all of them wrong because it was the same talking points.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is just history repeating itself, but I think this is why this information is so valuable. Like, this is the whole point of history lessons, is to be able to look back and learn something.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know how like they always say like history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. I'm like, no, it actually does just repeat, kind of. You know what I mean? Like pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah. I've actually never heard that before.
I love that one. Yeah.
It means that the exact history won't repeat,
Right.
but its sister or its twin brother.
A lot of key points from it.
You know?
Got it. Which basically is, it's just to swap one minority group up for another.
It is
It's
a
a strong
repeat.
rhyme.
It's a strong rhyme.
This one's a strong
We're talking
rhyme, yeah.
twins.
Bryant's campaign leaned heavily on Christian fundamentalism, fear, and falsehoods. Again, what they're using right now is the exact same playbook. She claimed that gay teachers were dangerous and equated queerness with pedophilia. Her campaign turned into a national referendum on homosexuality. Yeah. Again, this feels so similar to like the drag queen debacle.
Oh yeah, like grooming
you know?
children because you're in a dress kind of thing.
And then
Literally.
I think Trixie Mattel was like, I don't even want kids at my show.
Yeah,
Ew.
that's assuming that I like kids. Again, it's a very
Literally.
big assumption to make.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like the stats show that 95% of all pedophiles are like cis
straight men.
heterosexual men. Which so I don't know.
It's
Get it right.
often what you see in politics, especially with right-wing people, is what they're saying the other side is doing is basically them just admitting to what they're doing. And I think it's the same kind of situation about these really homophobic people who are going and attacking gay people. It's like, Buki.
Yeah, dude, like they didn't
I
even
know what
want-
you are. I know what you are.
I know what you are. It's like we're
Ashamed.
doing it, but to distract you from what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
over
over
there.
here.
Literally, it's look over
They're
there.
doing it, but they're not.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like even just like the gay marriage thing, they were like, gay marriage shouldn't exist because it's a contract between a man and a woman. However, like child marriage is still legal in a lot of states.
Yeah.
Hello?
So in response, queer people did not give up. This galvanized queer activism. There were boycotts of Florida orange juice, and celebrities like Bette Midler and Jane Fonda
Boycott the
spoke
orange
out.
juice. We're gonna hit them where it hurts.
Bette Midler
Honestly,
and
it
Jane
worked.
Fonda. That's awesome.
yes,
Jeez,
yes.
homosexual
That's
icons
really cool. Well, if these scared conservatives just literally
don't know any gay people.
met a gay person, then they'd be like, oh, what the hell? That's probably why Jane Fonda and Bette Midler were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, that's cuckoo.
The issue is, though, this was another moment that crystallized the divide among organizers. So Anita's rhetoric was so powerful and dangerous that many gay activists began to fear that being seen as too radical or too sexual would make things worse.
Oh, she did need a max win.
I need the max win.
So some leaders started rebranding the movement to counter Bryant's narrative. Fast forward to the AIDS epidemic. Okay. For religious people, the AIDS epidemic further confirmed everything they'd been preaching since Bryant's campaign.
Oh, God.
Right? So
That's good ammo, unfortunately.
the AIDS crisis was seen as God's punishment for homosexuality, right?
Well, what's God's punishment for pedophilia within priests?
And what's cancer? What are they punishing you with
Yeah.
cancer? Or tuberculosis?
A baby with cancer? Like, are you
Like,
joking?
what is it being punished
Literally.
for?
What are you getting punished for?
That's just illness.
What'd you do?
The contradictions in religion are just like never ending, though.
But from their perspective, they're like, oh, the gay people are getting this disease. It's literally what the Bible says or whatever, whatever religious text says.
The impact of this was seen in Kathy Cohen's 1997 essay, Punks, Bulldaggers, and Welfare Queens. And she said in her essay that during the 1980s AIDS epidemic, mainstream gay politics were becoming increasingly white, male, and middle class, leaving out poor and BIPOC queers and trans people and sex workers.
As they always do.
Right? So it's like we're seeing this moment happen again where people are really coming down on the queer community. And it's very much like, I got to protect myself. And like, if you
Yeah.
have less social capital, GTFO basically.
Yeah. We had like a breather moment, right? Like for a little bit. Where
Absolutely. It was
like-
feeling good for a second there.
It was for a second. I felt really good.
Like Obama era?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
As
And like
soon
a
as they,
little
like-
after.
Yeah. As soon
Yeah.
as they like legalized like gay marriage, I was like, woohoo. I don't even like, I don't care about marriage, but I was like, anybody can do what they want.
We
You
were
know?
really on the up. for
I
a
was on
minute
the
there.
up. I was like drinking water for fun.
Obama was like, gay people deserve rights, except for the ones that I'm drone striking. They can die. Who wants to hear my end of year playlist? My wife has a book. She's such a girl boss.
Liberals.
Triggered myself.
Triggered myself.
I am not unsafe. I'm just uncomfortable. Yeah. And we will continue.
The new mantra.
boy. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Over the last 5 years, Vizzy has supported our mission to authentically and positively represent the entire LGBTQ2S+ community.
And with Vizzy's vibrant flavors, you can follow your own vibe. Be bold, be flavorful, and above all else, be yourself. Plus, Vizzy only has 100 calories and 1 gram of sugar per can.
Cheers! Must be of legal drinking age, and please enjoy responsibly.
And now, back to the episode.
After the AIDS epidemic in the 80s, there was this new, renewed desire to fight for marriage equality, as many queer people could not make end-of-life decisions for their partners, with that right being given to excommunicated family members who were unaccepting. Have we heard this before? Have
I
you heard
did
about
not
this?
realize of this. I didn't even think about this dynamic.
Ugh, it was horrible.
Shit.
The AIDS epidemic was a very huge moment in queer history.
Like, you don't think of like the familial relation aspect of it like that.
Totally. No, it was like really a big nightmare for a lot of gay people and just like a lot of queer people in general.
Yeah, that's why the lesbians stepped in to help.
Yeah.
They always
This?
do.
All the lesbians, they were like, you've always left us out of your thing. But,
here we are.
Here we are. We're going to take care of you. We're going to nurse you
Yeah.
until your dying moments.
And then they were better and they're like,
Yeah. And then here we are again.
they don't give a fuck about anyone else.
Damn.
Okay.
Foiled again.
Foiled again.
No,
they
well,
don't
you-
remember.
I coincidentally at the Halloween party you guys hosted
Yeah.
2 years ago, we were
Yeah.
talking to these guys outside. They're like, "Yeah, there's way too many girls at this party," and me and my friend were like, "Yeah, that's why we like it. Freaking weird." They were
Yeah.
like, wanted a sausage fest, and I'm like,
A lot of gay men want that. Like they really enjoy, I mean, the same way a lot of lesbians really enjoy
That's
an all
true.
sapphic environment as well. I think
That's
it's like
true.
very a homoerotic situation.
"Yeah, fine."
But
Fine.
It's just like
we
fantasy
can
thing.
have fun together though.
We can have fun
Yeah,
together.
that's
Like,
why
and
I
it
was
doesn't
like,
have to be
"Guys,
every
why does
night."
everything have to be always like
Yeah.
those are fun too, but like it's fun. Girls are so fun.
Agreed. Femininity's the fucking best.
Yeah.
In the face of this, now there's like this really strong desire to fight for the right for marriage. Correct?
Right.
So major assimilationist marketing campaigns were launched featuring almost exclusively cisgender, white, able-bodied, middle-class couples, often in suburban or domestic settings.
Yeah.
The imagery was same-sex couples doing everyday things. Picture it, people getting married, only white people raising you picturing it? They're raising kids, paying taxes, and the slogan is "Love is love," and we're just like you. You see it?
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I get what they're going for.
Yeah. They have everyday troubles just like you. We say dang flabbit just like you.
We're your brothers, your sisters.
And the thing is, they're right in that they do say dang flabbit just like you. They are just like us. They're appeasing
Yeah.
to like the
They'll
humanity
give you
part of it, where they're
the
like,
little
hey,
smirk on the sidewalk, like all the white people do.
I do that too.
I do
it too.
I can't
It's
help
adjacent to the. Do you guys know that this is a very gay man thing?
No,
Are
sorry.
you familiar with the bear face?
What's that?
What's the bear?
The bear face. Yeah. So on the dating apps, you know what like a bear is? Like
Yeah,
an
it's like
older,
big.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
bigger guy.
Yeah.
All of their selfies are like
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't know how to take selfies.
that's like the face.
A teddy bear face.
So do you guys think this worked? The marketing campaign? What do
Oh,
you
for
think?
sure. Yeah.
I don't recall society being that accepting of even those gay people.
People are still super anti-gay, very homophobic. Like maybe it worked to a degree for some people, but there's still a lot of people that are like, fuck your rights.
Well, it's the hyper-religious people who are like, this ruins the sanctity of marriage for everyone.
But you know
You're
what?
spoiling
It's-
it.
These people are not the
They're not the
majority.
majority.
The
Especially
thing-
not anymore.
But,
But
they're
no.
convincing other people that that's the way, you know? And they're also convincing us that that is the majority. But
did
it's
it
not.
work?
You ready?
Yeah, did it
So the assimilationist narrative was very successful.
Okay.
So this is basically how we got the legalization of same-sex marriage
Okay.
in many countries,
Okay.
and it made meaningful strides in the area of employment and non-discrimination rights as well, and like all the military stuff, like
what the
getting rid of
LG
don't ask,
yeah.
don't tell, all of that. It changed hearts and minds.
So the LGB stuff is trying to use this strategy again, but by being very exclusionary and pointed to trans communities now versus just
Before it,
Radical
like it was
queers.
like we're just leaving you out, but now it's like we're attacking you, which is arguably much worse than what was happening before.
Yeah.
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 This was the beginning of capitalist white pride parades. Kathy Cohen pointed out that this type of assimilation meant buying into the very systems that produce queer oppression in the first place. Capitalism, respectability, and policing.
It's not all bad. It moved the needle. But
You are buying into the system. You know what I'm saying? Like that campaign is white supremacist.
of
You know what I mean?
course.
Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
marketing
of course.
campaign is obviously white supremacist. You're only showing white people. You are playing into these very systems, but are you using them to your strategic advantage, perhaps?
I think it did move a needle in an important way, but it doesn't mean that the way they moved the needle was the best. It was exclusionary and it was shitty.
It didn't help anyone else, you know? Like, it didn't help the most marginalized people. Sex workers, people of color, trans people were all left behind,
Yeah.
but they did get rights for themselves.
Yeah, it's like you said, it was very selective.
Yeah.
Right? Like on a broad sense, I'm like, maybe in general, people might feel a little bit more safe. I can use the hand-holding example, hand-holding in public, but like you could have accomplished that by not throwing your peers under the bus. There is a way to do that in a way that's still warm and comforting. And instead of saying, look at us, we're not like these shitty people. It can be, look at us and look at these people that you hate. We all are literally the same. And if that was their approach, and it's like,
What I wish they would have done is started with, yeah, look at us like white, respectable people that are just like you. And then once that works, they're like, okay, now let's move on to this group. Let's move on to this group. And let's, keep.
I think that's what we were trying to do.
We were trying, but
I think that's what
they
happened
stopped,
next.
though. It is what happened next.
I think it's
but not
older
from
gays.
them.
I think it is older gays who have lived through this, who are probably part of this LGB without the T alliance.
It's not just older gays, guys. Like
don't
young
think
people
so?
are on the wagon.
You're
Yeah.
right. Honestly, a lot of these like conservative queer influencers that I was looking at, they're young people.
It's like our age.
Because again, it's not about sexual preference.
'Cause we're
it's
so
about
young.
gender identity. And they're obsessed with that distinction between sexual preference and gender identity. So it gives them something they can say differentiates them from trans people, which it does. But they don't understand what losing that community means. And they don't understand that they are just as much going to be victim to these horrible systems that are discriminating. If they try to side with the oppressive side, they're going to have a very rude awakening soon.
Yeah.
It's not a threat.
This is something that I struggled with a little bit while doing this research. The fact that assimilationist strategies were objectively successful in moving queer rights forward.
Yeah.
Do we think there's merit to this versus the abolitionist strategy?
I think that when you present something that seems extreme to another side that to you seems extreme,
Yeah.
I don't think it moves anywhere. I think you do have to like meet in the middle
Yep.
and like move a little bit to continue to move. So do I think it's like wrong to start there? No, actually, I think it's like probably a really great idea to start there.
Yeah.
I just don't think that we should stop there.
I think
That's
there's something to
the
be
thing.
learned.
I mean, I think, with the assimilation strategy, it's not like they got what they wanted and they're like, okay, and we'll keep using this to keep moving it forward to gain rights for everyone. They didn't do that. They stopped, and it was just for, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just for that.
It's like any other movements, any other needles that were moved forward after that. It wasn't them. It was like they were like,
That's exactly
I
it.
got my
Literally.
piece.
So maybe
know?
there's a version of that, right? Maybe there's a version of the like assimilationist strategy where it's like have the kind of primary marketing thing be like, hey, like we're literally not different from you because literally we're not.
Yeah.
And then like use that kind of strategy of assimilation to help everybody get rights. Which is why, going back to what we talked about Zoran's campaign, he talked to all of the different communities, even the ones that were against him initially, and like said, hey, I'm like you. I think he will continue to push needles like that by appeasing to the humanity of people because it exists. And I think that strategy could work. It just has to be done in a way that is effective, which is what I liked about his campaign and what kind of symbolic he represented in terms of movements and talking to out groups or talking to people that don't like you.
Which I think is like kind of the path forward, is just like finding those commonalities, because I think at the end of the day, like these major global corporations, governments, like these top of the top people in power, I think pull off like the greatest magic show of all time, where it's all about diverting your attention and being like, look over here, fight there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the real issues that we need to like be banding together for is like, hey, why does food cost so much?
Yes.
Why like aren't wages going up? Why
how are we so
why is so many people unemployed?
Yes.
Like why are we not getting like the healthcare that we
Yes.
deserve, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But by splitting us up, dividing us, diverting our attention, we don't even have like the energy to fight for like the basic stuff, which
Yeah.
is like the things that are at the end of the day we can all fight for and is affecting all of us.
One thing that really can be learned from these assimilationists is their strategy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to leave people out to take things from the strategy that they're using,
Sure.
while still looking at the big picture as assimilationists and like changing hearts and minds and moving things forward and thinking academically and all of these things. I think there is merit to marketing campaigns to change hearts and minds of people without doing it in a really problematic white supremacist way. I think you can still change people's minds. Like, I think even just having celebrities talk about trans people and include trans people in things, and having trans visibility, like all of these things move the needle forward to show people that trans people are regular ass human beings and nothing to be afraid of. In reading this academic Craig Rimmerman, he's the author.
Was he gay? Rimmer.
A good one, yeah.
Thank you.
Bing. He's the author of the Lesbian and Gay Movements, Assimilation or Liberation, and he believes that the answer is that we need to build on the best of what assimilationist and liberationist strategies have to offer.
Literally what we said. Yeah.
The assimilationist strategy in and of itself is far too limiting. And in the words of the late civil rights activist Bayard Rustin, those who embrace radical, outsider, unconventional liberationist politics must eventually recognize the importance of moving from protest to politics. And I think that's the thing, is like, I think as abolitionists, we are really good at putting on a protest. We're really good at talking academically into a mic, like I'm doing right now. We like doing this. We like talking about theory. I'm guilty. That's what this whole freaking page is about.
Sure.
You know what I
We need
mean?
the theory. We need it.
We're talking about things. We're moving language and
need
ideas forward. Like, all of these things are good, but
the
it's not
root.
where we should stop. The biggest takeaway that I had from all of this is just like the importance of marketing and changing other people's opinions. And I think that is what they had a little bit right. I keep coming back to that democracy piece, like as like 7% or less of the population, it is kind of our job to change other people's minds about us.
Sure. It's so funny because I think we probably even talked to you guys about this before, but like
Yeah.
so many of my videos, so many people are like, I've had people in my DMs be like, oh my God, I had no idea you were gay. I didn't think I supported or like gay people, but I followed you because you're funny and you're actually chill.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an example of that like kind of humanizing strategy, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like,
100%.
you know, in my example, I'm talking about like making people laugh, but like it can be anything. It can be
But
like,
anyone's following you because they relate to your content,
Right.
You know?
yeah,
Absolutely.
Because they're just laughing.
sure.
And then they get something political, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, then, yeah, there's this amazing comedian, activist, creator, Walter Masterson. He's
Yep.
amazing. He made this video where he said something really impactful. He said, it's not left versus right. It's actually top versus down.
100%.
Yes, the tops versus the bottoms, and we're all
There you go.
bottoming.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like
And there's
in a
no lube right now.
non-consensual way.
Yes.
It hurts.
Oh, dear. Well, we are being assaulted by financial instability. I mean,
Yeah.
to push the metaphor
Correct.
forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I saw this video actually this morning where Bernie Sanders visited like one of the most red states in America. And what's interesting, it was West Virginia. What's interesting about that is that they were blue state for like 80 years until recently they turned red, but like overwhelmingly like majority red. And he went in there to talk to the people, and what they wanted were the same things that him as a socialist really wanted, which was like access to healthcare, a living wage and a healthy life is basically it. Like not having to struggle to, you know, make ends meet every single month and be continuing to struggle with no end in sight. He asked them, like, did you know like we're one of like the richest countries in the world? And one of the ladies was like, yeah, it really doesn't feel that way because I live in poverty and I'm struggling every single day. And he was like, yeah, well, if I have $1 billion and you have $0, but we take the average of that, it makes it seem like we each have like $100 million amongst all of us. But the reality is I have $1 billion, you have 0, and that's America. At the end of the day, the reason that they voted for Trump and went red is because the Democratic gave up on them. And so then they gave up on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party didn't care about them.
Yeah, and you can't give up on people like that. You would, the same way we're saying they should like talk to a gay person, we should talk to people on the right and
We should.
see
Yeah.
their humanity and be like, where is this coming from?
Majority of people who are Trump supporters or voted for Trump or who would be like considered Republican are not these extremist people that like want to take away your rights and want you dead. They just want like a basic good life. And so do we.
Some of them want to take away your rights.
This is like the extremist
Sure,
side.
the
The
extreme-
extremist
yeah.
side.
But I mean, the people that Mamdani went and spoke to in New York City who voted for Trump, a lot of them were just saying that they wanted like their quality of life to go up.
Yeah,
Basically, that was
and that's something that we can
misadvertised too.
all agree on.
Yeah.
But then we're spending too much energy fighting amongst each other
Yeah.
about like, should we have vanilla ice cream or should we have chocolate ice cream? It's like, no, we should just like
We should all have food.
get food.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about this. And like, if we go and get the food together, we'll understand each other better.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about vanilla versus chocolate, we'll be able to come at each other a little bit more empathetically.
And I mean, we can refer to our socialist daddy, Karl Marx, when he like emphasizes the importance, though, of cultivating solidarity amongst the working class. It's like this is how we're gonna get it done.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Not
saying?
you versus me. Tops
No.
versus bottoms.
I think the thing about using your privilege to support other people is, and building coalitions with people of varying degrees of privilege, is just that radical groups sometimes do stay marginalized. Aligning with people who have different strategies can be beneficial for the whole, perhaps. This is just my thoughts. I'm open to hearing other people's ideas. In these radical groups, you tend to have less access to resources, institutional power, and media visibility, which like limits the scalability of your movement and your ability to make changes and more wins that are actually like symbolic wins, like the way that assimilationists have made these symbolic wins, right? Like they've leveraged the fuck out of their power to be able to do that. It can be useful to leverage other people's power in a certain situation, you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
share your privilege and vice versa. However, on the other side, I think that radical organizations have played a major role in kind of shifting perspectives. Even within the greater community, we now see like major pride organizations all over the world disavowing these LGB without the T organizations because our hearts and minds have shifted towards trans people because of who? Because of the abolitionists. And that is important.
Yes.
Being thought leaders and standing by your values
We
and
need
leading
it.
protests, all of these things are still important.
We need it because
yeah.
I think of it as like a magnet. Like they're making sure we don't go to the wrong side.
Exactly.
Like their theory.
Yeah, it's like, over here.
Seriously though, genuinely,
me.
genuinely, it
Look at
is
mommy,
this
look at
force.
mommy.
Yeah, it's this force that pulls us and reminds us.
Yeah.
and like we have to look at mommy.
Jiggle, jiggle.
We have to
We
look
do.
at
Look over
mommy.
here.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. We have to look at mommy. And like mommy might be a little extreme right now, but we
Mommy
need her
might be a little
extreme. We need her extremeness to inform our strategic stuff, which is inevitably sometimes going to be watered down versions of it. But we need that. Otherwise, we just get pulled to the other direction. Mommy keeps us in check.
Yeah.
With her theory, with her demands. Let mommy be demanding. She is reminding us that we have a mission.
I am the symbolic mommy.
I love it. I love it. It was great.
Okay, so after hearing the history, I want to circle back. Do we think this moment of division and polarization feels different?
I think it's more similar than I had anticipated. I'm not
Yeah?
going to lie.
Fuck yeah.
I think,
I love when my research, like,
no, genuinely, I see a lot of discourse online.
yeah.
And so I'm like, there's a lot of division in the queer community right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear about or see a lot of like stuff about the discourse between the communities back then because we only talk about the big revolutionary moments. So I'm like, therefore, it didn't happen.
And we tend to be in the now.
And I was going to say so much of this happened before all of us were even born around this table. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, I was
fair.
born in like 2008, so
Saying that, it's very fair that right now feels so intense because this is the most politically divisive moment that we've ever
We
lived
feel.
through.
like, yeah.
It's like totally fucking yeah.
Trump is the president of America while Zoran Mamdani is the mayor of New York. That's like a big fireball.
Mm-hmm.
And in the inside, a pocket of the fireball is like, I'm ice. Ignore the physics of it. But I'm ice. And it's like, there's fire and ice. Like
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones. But hopefully, unlike Game of Thrones, we don't have a bad ending.
Hopefully we don't all die. But we might though.
Hopefully there's some incest.
They don't all
Stay
die at
tuned.
the end. They don't die. The ending is just poorly written. Hopefully,
We
our
might
ending
do
is better
incest
written.
though. We're gonna do some incest. Okay, so you think it doesn't feel different now?
I think it doesn't feel nearly as different as I thought. I think
Change your mind.
it kind of makes me hopeful that maybe we can find find a way out of it.
Exactly. And this is why I
Yeah.
love history, though, because it feels so overwhelming right now. But if you look back at many points in history, I'm sure it felt so scary and overwhelming
My
during
friend
all of the
Nikita-
world wars.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
my friend Nikita online, Nikita Dump Truck, amazing, incredible.
Does she have a
truck?
dumpy?
Got a dumpy
She
back
is
there?
gorgeous.
With a dumpy though?
I don't know. She is like a sister to me. And I don't do
haven't- you
incest.
You won't do incest.
Yeah. Although Nikita's the kind of friend where she'd be like, "Oh my god, tell them I have a dumpy," but I'm not gonna make that decision.
Yeah.
Because Nikita is beautiful, but that's all I will say
Yeah,
about
she has
her
a great.
physically.
We love her personality.
But she's amazing. She talks so much about. She
Yeah.
always says history doesn't repeat itself; it rhymes. And she will literally be like, "Are you feeling hopeless? Here's how this exact thing is
Yes.
happening right now is happening in like the 30s, and this is how they got out of it. We'll be out of this
Exactly.
in 7 years." And you're like, "Oh, everything's fine." And then
like-
occasionally she'll be like. She'll make a status being
Yeah.
like, just a reminder, it feels like things are really shitty. Go outside and talk to a real person, and you'll be like, oh my God, okay, wait, I feel calmer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that is very different right now is social media. You know, this is something in the intense mental health crisis that we're experiencing right now.
Can't relate.
And no, you're so good.
And
I
young.
don't take 3 pills every morning. I take 3 pills every morning.
I'm taking 4.
Fuck you.
It's the Oppression Olympics.
Oh, I know. This is what we're talking about. I'm like, shit. They have microbangs and 4 pills. They win, and they have a tattoo.
And they're they theming.
It's not enough to just be gay and a man anymore and racialized. I'm like, I need to do something. Like,
You got to do something extreme.
I don't know.
So I think our access to the internet is making things feel different. Like we're being inundated by information, really scary information at a rate that our brains are not really down to handle.
They're not
built
ready.
to handle.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's something to keep in mind, but I don't think that means that we can't repeat this strategy. I think you can also see social media as a huge marketing tool to change a lot of this and to use and to
yes.
change hearts and minds, and like these things can also be
Yes.
true. But I think the really scary thing is people's ability to be radicalized online is quite scary.
It's pretty
very
easy.
I
you know?
think how fast they send you down a rabbit hole and how different everyone's algorithms look. Like even though I am deeply pro-Palestine, I have continued to follow some of my friends who are Zionists from university that I didn't realize you were a Zionist until this became an issue that you started posting about.
I know, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and I didn't unfollow them. I was uncomfortable at first, but I'm like, honestly, I want to see what's on your algorithm.
I want to see what's on their mind, and we have to use the mobilization. I've been using
Yeah.
that word a lot this week, but we have to use that momentum
Yeah.
and mobilize among ourselves in our other countries that we live in,
Yeah.
so that these institutions aren't completely populated with the anti-leftists, for example.
Exactly.
And then we can be able to push for these things that are important. I think that's
Exactly.
really
And
needed.
I think we just need to start being more goddamn strategic. I think all of us, it's safe to say around the table, resonate and identify as leftists or with the liberationist strategy the most. But I'm wondering, do we think there's anything wrong with what we've been doing in our organizing as a community?
The lack of
Lack
connecting with each other and coming together instead of being fixated on our differences. The whole tender queer thing that you mentioned of like, this verbiage was problematic and I no longer want to associate myself with you. It's not my responsibility. Like the weird individualistic entitled
So
weird
therapy talk.
shit. Yeah, that.
I think you can share your opinion with someone. And this is what I really honestly want to be one of the biggest takeaways from this video is I hope that people will start to like pause before they start typing a comment and think about how would you say this to someone if they were right in front of your face?
It's so hard to take the high road, even though I know
very
we've
difficult.
literally spent the last like X amount of hours talking about how it's
Taking
important.
the
But
high
like,
road, yeah.
just to be clear, we're aware it's really hard, and like I have fully
And we've done the
taken
wrong,
like
yeah.
below the belt, being like, oh well, you're bald. And no, and my comment
Yeah.
will ratio them, and I'm so proud of it. And it's like,
Yeah.
maybe there was a better way.
You feel a little shitty. Yeah, like after you come out
like-
of
Oh, but
the-
it feels so good in the moment.
It feels so fucking good in the
to-
moment.
To go
Yeah.
low.
It feels so good.
Oh, yeah.
But then,
You're bald.
But then I say, I'm like, if you were bald and you were
Yeah.
nice, being bald would be good. So it's actually not to all bald people. It's just you. But I get it.
And then
I
one
get
day
it,
you
though.
might be bald too. I don't know.
I'm going to Turkey the moment that happens. There's literally a hair transplant company in my DMs, and I am ready to respond to them when the time comes. You will not catch me. I will pre-film
not
all my
happen.
content. I'll wear, because I have to shave all my head for it, pre-film all my content. No one knows
You
I'm having a
will not
transplant.
see me bald.
And then once my hair grows back, I'll go back to resuming my content. Everyone think it'll just have naturally happened.
With so much infighting happening, how can the queer rights movement move forward?
In Amin Genzani's multi-method analysis of LGBT marches on Washington, he asked this very question. He said, how can movements survive, even thrive, when everyone inside is fighting about what the movement is? Okay. In his research,
Sound good.
it can happen. So in his research, he found that broad coalition movements need two things in order to be successful amidst infighting. One, cultural anchors, and two, thin coherence. Allow me to explain what the fuck that means. He found that successful movements tend to organize around cultural anchors. These are big, emotionally resonant ideas that everyone can rally around.
The big things.
Exactly. Even if they interpret them differently. So these are things like pride parades, love is love,
Right.
events like the Stonewall Uprising,
Equal rights.
etc.
Humanity, kind to thy neighbor.
Exactly. We can all get behind this.
Let's
and
all
we
get food.
can go and be in a pride parade all standing next to each other, even though we have a bit of a disagreement here.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
We all aligned. Okay. So each group may define these things differently though, and they absolutely fucking do. Us leftists showing up to the pride parade, we're like, why'd you invite these people who are hurting us to the parade? Why are you taking so much money from corporate sponsors? And there's, you know what I mean? Why is it so capitalist?
I haven't
Why are the
thought
cops
about
here?
that. These like capitalist pride parades, first of all, they don't happen everywhere. Like
Yep.
they very much are like still protests and riots in other places of the world. Even
Yeah.
in Canada, like we saw that in Alberta, in Banff. It was not corporate whatsoever. It was a protest only by the people.
Yep.
But I will say, on the flip side of that, having a corporate pride parade is a privilege in many ways.
100%.
Like there's so many people, queer people, that get hired by these corporations to either walk in them, be a part of the float, dance, do other campaigns, etc. And like that means that we're making money.
There's more money flowing in the community, and that's fucking huge,
Yeah.
especially to artists, queer artists. This past year, so many of our queer artist friends, as these sponsors have moved away from the Pride Parade, a lot of us are struggling financially.
That
like,
means
seriously.
that we stay more poor.
I will take a bunch of them being super queer friendly for financial gain over them not.
Honestly, it makes me feel safer. When I hear about all of these companies pulling out, I'm like, eesh, does that mean like the majority
You
of
hate me?
Well, when my friend from the States was visiting, her name is Abby. She's amazing. She's a comedian, Abby Govindan. So many plugs. She was like joking, like, I miss rainbow capitalism. Like, we don't
Yeah.
have anything.
when it's gone, you get scared.
And she was like, it sucks. Like, I miss feeling that safety. Yes, it's capitalistic, but it at least feels safe.
It gives you the sense that it's like the majority of people agree with this if a company is choosing to do this because then it is profitable for them to align with this
It
issue.
feels
but
like a
once
majority win. Yeah.
totally, but when it feels like it's unprofitable for them to do this or it doesn't make financial sense, then I'm like, oh, I'm a little scared.
Chipotle, every year during Pride, apparently they would have this campaign. It would be like, homo estas. And then she's like, this year, there was no homo estas.
No homo estas?
No homo
just,
estas.
just estas.
Yes.
Number 2, we ready? This leads us into the next big takeaway, which is thin coherence, meaning a movement doesn't need total agreement on everything. It just needs enough.
Sorry. I really liked it.
It just needs enough shared understanding to move forward together.
I like that a lot.
Exactly.
Who wrote that? Is he alive? Does he have...
Amin Genzani.
Thank you, Amin. But that's so good. Yes.
In contrast, though, there's thick coherence, which would be a rigid demand for everyone to have the same ideology, strategy, and language.
That will not work.
Which,
Sorry.
It won't work. It's not going to happen.
which usually leads to purges, exclusion, or collapse.
It won't work. I get the
High-key,
intention, but it won't
I
work.
think a lot of us are looking for that. A lot of us on like the left, a lot of these
Yes.
liberationists, a lot of us want you to be like, you have to think exactly like me
Yes.
or GTFO.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Coherence.
I think this might be one of our biggest problems.
Yes, and this includes myself. I have this problem too.
Yeah.
But I want to work on it.
Yeah.
We should not want thick coherence all the time.
Yeah.
We're not going to get anywhere.
This like thick coherence with like a rigid demand for everybody to follow like the same ideology and structure and strategy and all these different things. Those are boundaries versus rules, right? Like, and this is something that we learned in our polyamory episode. When we first had a conversation about polyamory, there was this concept introduced to us of like, what is a boundary versus what is a rule? And a boundary is something that you imply onto yourself. So for example, if you don't feel good in a space, you can choose to have a boundary and you can remove yourself from that space rather than being like, you, and you need to get out, or you need to do this differently, or you need to change yourself. But rather, I don't feel good here, I'm going to remove myself. A rule is something that you impose onto others. And that's where things, I feel,
Like move away from your own autonomy and like trying to control other people.
yeah, it feels like if somebody was telling me you have to do this, this, and this, even if I agree with them, just the fact that they're telling me sometimes makes me resent them. It's not like I can't ever take instructions, but like especially if I don't agree with what you're saying, now I'm fully closed off. I don't want to hear it. And now I feel like I'm against you and you're against me.
In context, like a boundary versus a rule could be an example of, I really appreciate it when everyone uses my correct pronouns, and I like when people introduce themselves with their pronouns. A boundary can say, I'm not going to hang out in spaces where they don't do that for me, and I'm not going to keep friend groups who don't want to do that, and I'm just going to stay in these spaces. I'm not going to work a job where they don't respect that, blurty blur. But a rule would be, every single person has to respect my pronouns. Otherwise, like, I don't know, some bad happens. I'm not sure.
I'm going to unleash my wrath on
Yeah,
you.
like everyone has to conform to this. And I mean, ideally we would get everyone to conform to this, but I don't think setting rules is the way to get it. How do you maintain a coalition with people who don't think your rights matter? Because a lot of these people, and I think this is my problem with some white gay men, is
Some.
and I'm trying, some, not all, I'm not trying to
trying to be
generalize.
open.
I'm trying to
We're trying to
be
be
I'm trying to
open.
turn a new page. I'm turning a page. Look at me. I'm not generalizing. I think the problem is a lot of them don't care about other people's rights. You know what I mean? They only care about their rights, and sometimes they're against your rights.
Yeah.
How do you form coalition with these people? What do you think? You could say it in Mickey Mouse voice if it makes you feel better.
I think remembering what was it? Oh, the cultural anchors is a really big part of that. As long as you remind them why they're there, you can remember what you have in common.
Beautiful.
You keep the
Yeah.
coherence thin instead of thick.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
I think.
Yeah. I think
That's
here's the tea for me.
tricky.
I feel it is immoral to stop fighting when you get your rights for your privileged community and you just stop fighting for other people. But like I said earlier in this episode, I think it is just bad strategy as well.
Yeah.
I think stopping when you get your rights and not continuing to push forward makes a movement stagnant, and it also makes it move backwards. And then
it's
you're having
always
to fight the same fight over and over
been
again.
that way. It's always been that
Yeah.
way. You even see it. I was watching League of Their Own the other day, and you know, like during the war, they were like, "We need more workers," da da da, and they ran out of workers because all the men were like soldiers in the war, and they were like shipped off to war, and they were like, "Fine, we'll take women," and then but it was like, "But only white women," and then the white women were like, "Black women aren't allowed in here," and it's like, dude, they just let women in, and now you're like, "But not you," you know? It's like it's the same type of mentality, same type of thinking, where it's like, oh, I finally got in. Like, don't ruin this for me.
I would also say I think we come from a long lineage of people who were fighting for things that people used to think were too much or too radical. Fucking women wearing pants, women voting,
Women wearing
fucking
jeans.
and the gay marriage. Like all of these things at one point were deemed as too much or too radical. And I think that is something that we need to keep in mind as we're fighting for trans rights.
Yeah.
Just because we're facing some pushback right now doesn't mean you need to jump off the ship. Another thing that I want to say on the terms of everyone thinking that each other are annoying as well, I think the price of being in community is being annoyed and
You
inconvenienced.
know, I saw that meme too.
Sometimes people annoy me. I'm going to be so real
Most
with you.
people annoy
Sometimes
me.
I feel homophobic.
I feel that all the time. Yes.
But I don't give up. I still think you deserve rights.
Yeah.
That is the price of being in community, and we need to continue to be okay with being annoyed by each other and continue to have dialogue. Anyway, do you guys want a real life example of how the hell to do this?
Okay.
AIDS crisis. Example, coming in hot.
Okay.
So during the AIDS crisis, an organization called ACT UP, AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, was founded in 1987. It was in response to government inaction during the AIDS crisis. ACT UP was wildly diverse, included artists, radicals, healthcare workers, drag queens, Wall Street execs, and more. Everyone was in the room because AIDS, what?
Affects everyone.
Yep. It was what? Taha? What was it?
A disease.
Oh, it was a cultural anchor.
Oh,
We
yes.
can all agree on this because it impacts everyone and
Yes.
it's really messed up.
Yes.
So how did they handle disagreements? They operated through horizontal decentralized organizing. So this means that decisions were made at open meetings and anyone could propose an action. Okay? We're listening to each other. We're
Okay.
all talking together and we're having conversations
That's
about it.
new.
When conflict arose, and it constantly did, members often split into affinity groups that focused on specific goals. Example, treatment and data, women's caucus, majority action committee. Sometimes
Subgroups.
if some people don't agree with you, they don't have to take part in it. Okay?
Got it.
We can continue to disagree, but we don't have to dissolve. And instead of forcing unity, ACT UP allowed pluralism to coexist. So different factions targeted different institutions, but stayed loosely united together under silence equals death, which is again another
Cultural anchor.
There we go. Boom. There was some major tensions going on, though, especially over race, gender, and class. Many women and people of color felt sidelined and eventually branched off to form groups like the Women's Health Action and Mobilization called WHAM! Exclamation mark.
Oh, I like that.
And ACT UP Women. So ACT UP shows that disagreement doesn't have to destroy a movement as long as shared purpose stays intact, but it also warns us that ignoring internal inequalities like racism and sexism can fracture solidarity. All of these things can exist at once, and I think the LGB without the T situation, bad, not good.
I really resonated with the, if you can tell by my reaction, the cultural anchor and the thin coherence bit.
Yeah.
I really feel like that's a really powerful thesis statement of this episode that we can all really take away. And genuinely, guys, like on an individual level, I'm going to be thinking about that a lot.
I'm glad you liked it. I felt a bit overwhelmed, honestly, because I think I could have taken it at a very different angle where we just sat here and attacked right-wing people, right-wing queer people,
or
you know what I mean?
non-queers,
and we
rather.
could sit here and we could do that and we could pick through every single argument that they have and we can say why it's stupid.
Yeah.
Because you can totally do that, you know? But also I was watching their podcast and they were doing that test too, you know? So let's do something different. Rainbow. Yeah.
That's a good place to end it.
Yeah, I do really like that.
All right. So before we wrap it up, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, at TAHA Likes You, TAHA LIKESYOU.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
We
This
love
was
chatting with you.
such an amazing conversation. I really appreciate the work that went into constructing it and the kind of openness we had. There is a lot of hope, and the hope right now is really palpable, and we need to use that to our advantage because we saw how a leftist mayoral candidate used community to win an election and won against billionaires.
And they used a broad ass coalition of human beings to do so.
Like huge.
Yeah.
Like we can do it. We can literally do it. I would not have said this 2 years ago.
So that's everything that we have for you today. And if you want to dive deeper into something like radical movements and brainwashing, we have an episode on conversion therapy. It's called You're Not Gay, You Just Struggle with Same-Sex Attraction. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, make sure to leave us a 5-star review because it really does help the podcast out. And thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get an amazing discount. That's everything that we got. And until next time.
Peace.